In this video, we're going to talk about special angle pairs that we see in geometry. We're going to be talking about complementary angles, supplementary angles, linear pairs, and vertical angles. So the first one is complementary angles. Now you've probably seen complementary and supplementary a couple times in the past, but we're going to review it here. So complementary angles are two positive angles adding up to 90 degrees. Okay. So this is a complementary angle. So a couple of examples of complementary angles would be 40 and 50. Okay, so we can test that. 40 plus 50 gets you 90 degrees. Another example of a complementary angle would be 15 degrees and 75 degrees because they add up to 90 degrees. Okay, so 40 and 50 degrees are complementary angles. So they always have to come in pairs. Okay. So you can't say 40 degrees is a complementary angle. It doesn't work that way. It must be paired up. So 15 degrees and 75 degrees are complementary angles. Okay. Moving on, we have supplementary angles. Okay, and instead of adding up to 90 degrees, supplementary angles are two positive angles that add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so some examples of that would be 10 and 170. Also, maybe you could put 35 and 45 degrees because they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so 10 degrees and 170 degrees are supplementary angles. Okay, 35 and 145 are also supplementary angles. We're going to move on to a special type of supplementary angle, which we call linear pairs. Okay. So a linear pair is just a supplementary, just a pair of supplementary angles, but they have to be adjacent. Adjacent. So adjacent means that the angles share an arm, or they're next to each other. They share angles share an arm, or they are next to each other. Okay. So the example of that would be the diagram would easily show that. So we have two angles right here. And also the pink angle. So we can see that they share a side and they create a supplementary angle because you can see that they make 180 degrees. They make a straight line. So these two angles would be linear pairs. Okay. Our final angle pair is going to be called vertical angles. Okay. Kind of opposite of adjacent, vertical angles are not adjacent. So they are two non-adjacent angles formed by two intersecting lines. Okay. So let's draw a diagram for that. So we have two intersecting lines. Okay. And then I'm going to label the angles as numbers. So we have angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. So vertical angles are the ones that are non-adjacent from each other. So 1 and 3 are non-adjacent, they're across from each other. 2 and 4 are vertical angles because they're non-adjacent, they're across from each other. And then we have a couple of adjacent angles as well. Okay, so we're going to kind of label those out. So angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. Again, they must be paired up. Notice that I wrote angle 1 and it's not a degree because we don't have a degree sign here. If it was a degree sign on each of these, then this would be a measurement and we cannot say angle 1. But since we're using the number right now to name the angle, we can say angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4. Okay. Another pair of vertical angles would be angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Okay. For a little bit of practice, let's kind of label all the adjacent angles. So we have a list of adjacent angles. So we can pair them up. Okay. The ones that are next to each other, they share an arm. Angle 1 and angle 2. Angle 2 and angle 3. Okay. 3 and 4. And finally angle 4 and angle 1.